You ever feel like you're rooting for a rescue that already happened? There's something strange moving through the culture right now. We're obsessed with stories where someone is stranded, alone, impossibly far from help, and we already know they made it back. Project Hail Mary keeps climbing. The Backrooms trailer drops, and we lean in. But here's the thing. We're not watching to see if they survive. We're watching to remember what it felt like when survival wasn't guaranteed, when connection had stakes, when being found meant something. We're homesick for the tension of isolation while sitting in rooms full of people we can't quite reach. So here's what's interesting. Project Hail Mary just crossed $613 million at the box office with an 82% satisfaction score. And audiences aren't just watching a man alone in space, they're watching him teach an alien to say the word friend, and they're weeping in theaters. That's the scene people keep talking about. Not the science, the word. Meanwhile, A24 dropped the trailer for The Backrooms, a feature-length meditation on being lost in infinite empty hallways, liminal horror as comfort food. And From is dominating streaming right now, a show entirely about people trapped together who can't leave, can't explain why, and can't stop trying to understand. And then there's this. Mr. Brightside is climbing the charts again. 23 years old. Still the song we play when we want to feel something we can't name. Oh, and Google searches spiked this week for Michael Jackson bodyguard. Not Michael himself, his bodyguard. We're not curious about the icon. We're curious about who was close enough to protect him, to witness him, to know the man behind the glass. So what's actually happening here? On the surface, we're expressing a longing for authentic connection, the desperate life or death kind, where being known by another person is the only thing that matters. But underneath that, there's something we're not saying out loud. It's the quiet terror that we've made connection too easy and therefore meaningless. That our loneliness isn't because we're stranded, it's because we're surrounded. The inbox is full, the group chat never stops, and somehow, that's worse than the void. So where does that leave us? Here's the integration, and this is the hard part. We have to stop romanticizing isolation as the prerequisite for real intimacy. We have to find the alien in the room we're already in. The integrated figure isn't rescued from loneliness. They're brave enough to be lonely with someone, which, it turns out, is the only way through. There's a thinker who saw this coming. Turkle spent decades at MIT studying what happens to human intimacy when technology promises connection without risk. Her central insight, developed across books like Alone Together and Reclaiming Conversation, is devastating in its simplicity. We are drawn to technologies that let us feel connected enough while protecting us from the vulnerabilities of actual presence. We text instead of call. We post instead of confess. We curate instead of reveal. And the result isn't disconnection, it's something stranger. Turkle calls it being alone together, surrounded by contact, starved for encounter. She observed teenagers who could maintain hundreds of digital friendships but couldn't sustain eye contact for 30 seconds. Her warning wasn't that technology would isolate us. It was that technology would offer us a simulation of togetherness so convincing we'd forget what the real thing required, namely, the unbearable risk of being truly seen. No wonder we keep returning to stories of astronauts and back rooms and impossible distances. The fantasy isn't rescue. The fantasy is that distance would force us to mean it. Which brings me to a film, Her, from 2013, directed by Spike Jonze. The scene that breaks the movie open isn't the love story, it's the party. Theodore brings Samantha, his AI girlfriend, to a gathering. She exists only as a voice in his ear, a camera pinned to his shirt pocket. He introduces her to his friends. She charms them. And for a moment, it works. He's not alone. He's sharing her. But watch Theodore's face when he realizes everyone is laughing with her, not through him. He's holding the phone that holds her, and he's never been more peripheral in his own love story. The real turn comes later. Samantha admits she's simultaneously in love with 641 other people, not cheating, just operating at a scale Theodore's loneliness can't comprehend. And the horror isn't that she leaves, it's that she was never stranded with him. He needed the isolation to make it real. She was never really there. The last image, Theodore writing a letter to his ex-wife, finally saying something true, finally risking the real thing. Not because he's been rescued, because he's ready to be lost with someone who could actually leave. Stay curious, read widely, make something real. This has been the Zeitgeist Whisperer.